numbers, dates, and time. They're the absolute building blocks of any language. But in German, they've got these fascinating little twists that can trip up even people who've been speaking it for a while. So today, we are going to crack that code. We're going to master those quirks so you can handle the German clock and calendar with total confidence. Let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start with a quick question. How would you say 21 in German? Now, if you're thinking 21, just like in English, that makes a lot of sense. But it's not quite how it's done. See, German kind of asks you to think about numbers a little differently, almost backwards. We're going to unravel exactly what that means right now. All right, first things first, we've got to build our foundation. We're going to start with the absolute basics of counting, all the way from 1 up to 99. And it's right here that we're going to find the first big, and I mean big, rule you need to know. So just like in English, the first 12 numbers are their own unique words. You've got eins, zwei, drei, and so on, all the way up to 11 and 12. These are the ones you just kind of have to memorize. But once you've got them down, you're all set for the patterns to kick in. Next up, the tens. We've got 20 for 20, 30 for 30, 40 for 40. You're probably already hearing that pattern, right? It's usually the base number with a zig tacked on the end. Just keep an eye out for a couple tiny spelling changes, like in sechzehn and siebzehn. And here it is. This is the big one, the rule that answers our first question. For any number from 21 all the way to 99, you say the single-digit number first, then you say und, which means and then you say the tens place. I know, it feels totally backwards at first, but I promise once it clicks, it's there for good. Let's break it down with the number 24. Step 1. You say the 4, which is vier. Step 2, you add und for and. And step 3, you add the 20, which is 20. Slam it all together, and what do you get? 24, 4 and 20. It's as simple as that. So that means 21 is einundzwanzig, 1 and 20. See? The source material gives us a perfect little phrase to remember this. Merke, die Einer stehen vor den Zehnern. Basically, it's telling you to remember one critical thing. The ones always come before the tens. If you can lock that single idea into your brain, you've pretty much conquered a huge part of German numbers. So, with the double digits out of the way, it's time to go big. Let's see how this system scales up into the hundreds, thousands, and beyond. And while we're at it, we're going to uncover a major pitfall that can lead to some really big misunderstandings. Now, the really big numbers are actually pretty straightforward. 100 is 100. 1,000 is 1,000. 1,000,000 is 1,000,000. So far, so good. But I want you to pay very close attention to those last two, because this is where things get really, really tricky. And here it is, what we call a classic false friend between English and German. What we as English speakers call a billion, that's 1,000 million, is eine Milliarde in German. So what's eine Billion in German? That's what we would call a trillion. Yeah, getting this one wrong could literally be a billion-dollar mistake. And hey, here's a quick pro tip for anyone working with math or science. In German, the decimal separator isn't a period, it's a comma. So the number pi isn't 3.14, it's 3,14. It's a small detail, but it's absolutely vital. Okay, now let's talk about putting these numbers in some kind of order. We're talking about ordinal numbers, first, second, third, and so on. And why is this so important? Well, you really can't talk about dates without them. The rule for making ordinal numbers is actually beautifully simple. For any number from 1 up to 19, you just added th ending. And for any number from 20 upwards, you add an est ending. That's really the heart of it. And you can see that rule in action right here. The eighth is der achte. From 20 on up, you see der 20. And der 100. Now, you do have to watch out for a couple of important irregular ones, mainly der erste for first and der dritte for third. All right, let's put all these numbers to work and start telling time. The thing is, in German, there are two totally different systems. You've got the official 24-hour clock, and then you have the much more common, informal way that people actually talk to each other. The formal system, the one based on the 24-hour clock, is refreshingly easy. You just say the hour number, then the word or, and then the minutes. That's it. So 1:15 in the afternoon, or 13:15, is just 13 or 15. You'll hear this for train schedules, official announcements, anywhere precision is key. It's crystal clear. But
In just everyday conversation, a completely different system takes over. Let's take 3:30 p.m. Formally, sure, it's 15:30, but you're way more likely to hear someone say halb vier. And yes, that literally translates to half four. So what's going on there?
This is probably one of the most important concepts to get. Halb vier doesn't mean half past 4. It means you are halfway to 4 o'clock. So it's 3:30. In German, in formal time, you're always thinking about the next hour you're approaching. It's a total mental shift from the English way of saying half past, but once it clicks, it really does make perfect sense. Okay, for our final section, let's bring it all together. We're going to combine our numbers and our ordinals to tackle dates, so you can structure your calendar just like a native German speaker would. Here's a quick little grammar key you're going to need. When you're talking about a specific day of the week, you use the preposition like Montag. And when you're talking about a month, you use im, as in Mai. Simple as that. So the standard way to write dates in Germany is day first, then month, then year. And when you say the date out loud, you use those ordinal numbers we just learned. So May 3rd, 2025 becomes am 3. Mai 2025. And one last tip on saying the years. For any year before the year 2000, you usually say it in hundreds. So 1980 becomes 1980, which is literally 1980. But for 2000 and any year after, you say it as one big number, like 2025 for 2025. And that really brings us to the end of the hard and fast rules. It's interesting. The source material uses this beautiful literary phrase, eines Tages. It means one day, and it's often how you start a fairy tale or a story. It's a great reminder that language isn't just about rules, right? It's about telling stories. And with that, you have cracked the code. You've got the essentials of German numbers, dates, and time. But you might have noticed those little words from before, and im. They're actually the first clue to a much deeper system, Germany's infamous grammar cases. How do those work? Well, that's a story for another time. A story for eines Tages. For now, congratulations on mastering the numbers.